Good morning. Oh, I'm so glad you're here with us. Oh, it's going to be a great week. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great life because we have sun shining. We have so many good things going for us, and we have a special guest coming on today. Before we get to our special guest, I want to make sure we all understand the reason for this show. And the reason is to understand how important it is to have our core beliefs, our core values, and our core strengths aligned with our vision, our personal vision, our employees, our corporate vision, our business vision, whatever you want to call it. You know, understand, the better you can understand that, the better off you can be. So we've got a guest coming on today who is the founder of a company called Financial Freedom, and she helps entrepreneurs and other nonprofit organizations to find clarity and to find a way to make money sorry, I'm going to call my words here. So in order to have them, and I'm going to let her explain it a little bit better, but in order to help them to raise money. So there, I got it out. Wow. Very tough. But anyways, our special guest knows a lot about that. She also knows a lot about her core beliefs and her core values. So, I mean, I can't wait for you to meet our friend again today. We've had her on once about 6 months ago or so, but we're having her back on again today because she just brings total value, and I love her, and it's been great having her as a friend. So she's taught me so much along the way, and I hope she's going to teach you a lot along the way as well. So without any further ado, I want to bring on our friend of the show, Mary Valloni. Hello, Mary.
Hey. Hi, guys. Hi, Brian.
It's good seeing you this morning, Mary.
Yes.
Well, Mary, there are so many questions I want to ask you, but let's start off with one question. What's changed with you over the last 6 months?
Oh, goodness. I know we were chatting real quick, and I was saying that, just in the last few months since we spoke last, I was, living the good life. My husband and I were, doing life with just the two of us and our two dogs. And in the last few months, we found out that we're having a little one. So we're going to be adding, and we don't know yet, and we won't know till the baby's born. But we'll be adding a new one to the family. So it's pretty exciting. I was sharing with you earlier that I'm like, oh my goodness, how life has transformed and changed just in the last little while since we spoke last. So
wow.
Love it.
If you want to hear more good news and more great stuff, stay right there. We'll be right back. Awesome. Welcome back. Yes. This is going to be a great show. I'm just so thankful for you being on today, Mary. Yeah. I want to ask, we all want to know, how is this instance, I can't call it an instance. How has this miracle changed your vision?
Yeah, well, it's really interesting because I mean, as far as just where I'm going and what I'm doing in the future, yeah, it has definitely shifted my thinking as I know that I'm not going to be doing it alone. I mean, obviously, I had my husband along for the ride, but it definitely has shifted the way that I'm doing business. And the thing is that it's so great because after running my business for 7 years, I absolutely have the ability to do that. So I think that it's just, this has allowed me the freedom to change my schedule and to continue to work with the people that I love. So
Yeah.
yeah, all good stuff.
So tell us a little bit about the business you run. I tried to describe it. I did
know.
a poor job.
That's all good. I'm happy to share. Yeah. So a few years back, back in 2017 and actually 2016, you and I had met as we were writing our books. And so I launched my book in 2017 called Fundraising Freedom. And Fundraising Freedom is all about raising and helping people raise funds for their favorite charity, for their ministry, for their nonprofit organization. I work with organizations all over the world, and just with the beautiful world of technology that we have today. I mean, I can connect with people in, Romania and Africa and, just Cambodia. I mean, like just the corners of the world. And it's just really incredible. So I have, hundreds of clients at this point. And so it's just really fun to just be a part of their journey, help them raise those funds, shift their thinking from, oh, I hate fundraising, I hate raising money, to, hey, this is a really great joy that I get to be a part of. So really incredible. So I love what I get to do, and it's a joy every day to do it.
All right. So this is a big question, I know, but how do you get them to shift their mindset?
Yeah. Well, a lot of it comes back to their relationship with money, right? Like we all have this, sometimes we're raised in families where money is not given a lot of attention, and it's just kind of like, hey, this is the thing, it's just we need money to do the things that we do, but there's not a whole lot of energy that's given to it. And other families, it's like, poverty, we don't have any of it, don't you ask, money doesn't grow on trees. Like there's all these like things that just come up in it, and because in the nonprofit industry, I mean, just the name itself, not for profit, it already has a negative, poverty kind of mindset already like laid on it with the name itself. So when you think about business, it's abundance, and, we're going to go make a profit, and we're going to, make all this money, and it's totally okay to make a ton of money in business. But in the nonprofit sector, it just has this, we're not making any money. Our employees don't make money. Our team, we scrimp and save, and we make sure that every dollar is spread across as far as it can go. And so a lot of times what I do is I come in and I find that I'm a little bit of a catalyst for change, where I'm the voice that comes in, that it's like, hey, she's the outsider, she's done this before, and I can come in and really kind of stir the pot a little bit in a really positive way.
Yeah.
Like I never want to dig on anything that's been done in the past, but what I can see though is I can see the pitfalls. I can see where this mindset may have crept in, to the organization or to the individual themselves. And we start working through that as far as having conversations about how they feel about money. How much do they think that they actually deserve? Right. And so when people think that they don't, oh, I don't need that much to get by, or, we could do this on less, I start to get in there and just say, okay, what's it going to actually take? Like just the facts. Like, I want to know the facts of what it takes to do the work that you do, and then boldly step out into those numbers, because they're just numbers. There's no, when it comes to money, I'm like, everybody has money. Some have more, some have less, so I'm like, even the homeless guy, he's got money. Like, and sometimes he's got more cash in his pocket than you and I do. So in the end, it's like, it's really just shifting our thinking around finances, around money, and just about what we're worth. What is it that we should be bringing in for our cause and the work that's being done? So, yeah. And by the way, in the nonprofit sector, as you know, because you spend a lot of time in there as well, is that you're trying to you're trying to fix a problem that no one else has been able to fix. Like the nonprofit industry exists because they're tackling really, really difficult problems. They're transforming people's lives. They're working with people with addiction and, all sorts of things that are going on, right? And it's tough work. And then, oh, by the way, you have to do it on pennies.
Right.
So, I mean, I have a tendency to have to, come in and just kind of knock people around a little bit and say, okay, what are we actually trying to accomplish here? And let's go do this and look at what is it actually going to cost to make that problem go away and actually for us to be a solution to the problem. So yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell.
So do you have a basis for the work you do? Is there a book? Obviously you wrote a book.
Yes.
Are there other books that you really rely on to kind of get people grounded in that mentality?
Yeah. So I work through my freedom framework. So in the book that I put out, Fundraising Freedom, those 7 steps, they're really the framework and the step process that I take every single client through. I take, anybody who's may listen to my podcast or listen to any of the work that I do. That is the stuff that I'm like, okay, step 1, focus your vision. And I think that it's perfect for our vision alignment conversation here is that, vision, like it's like putting in, to your GPS system, where you want to land. And so many people just don't even know where they want to land. And so that's why they kind of go all over the place. And then they're like, well, we didn't do it. We didn't say what we were going to, we didn't accomplish what we wanted. It's like, because you didn't really have all that clarity and where you wanted to go and what you wanted to accomplish. So, but anyways, those 7 steps, they came from my background in trying to pay off all the student loan debt that my husband and I had accrued when we were younger. And I jumped into, Dave Ramsey's, 7 baby steps to financial freedom. Right. And, and Financial Peace University was something that I taught at my church and I was, actively involved in because I was like, everybody should have a step system, a 7-step process to get out of debt. And as I was going through that and we paid off all of our student loan debt, I was like, oh my gosh, fundraising should just be this easy because I think we get a lot of ideas, going on and it's like, oh, well, that's a good idea. And that's a good idea. Well, we should do that. And so this framework allows for people to just go step by step and know, hey, we're not quite there yet. And we can push pause on some of these other ideas because we have to get this stuff done first, and then we can get to all the rest of that. And so it just has helped immensely to help people to say, okay, what's a priority, what's not, and how can I really make progress? It's like cleaning a house or, whatever. It's like one room at a time. Let's look at the room and be like, whoa, look at what we did here. And then you get motivated and then we can move on to the next room. I think we just get so, overwhelmed with things and then we don't make any progress and we don't, actually see the results that we want to see. But this framework has been huge. It has helped thousands of nonprofits, really do this and raise millions of dollars. So we're not talking about a couple bucks here and there, like they are transforming their organization. So it's really, really incredible to be a part of.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it is. Like, it never gets old when I get a message from somebody who says, I just followed your process and, we've doubled our income for our organization and, or I'm fully funded. Our ministry, my family is fully funded to go out on the mission field. And yeah, to me, that's like, yeah, everything.
So how does that make you feel?
Yeah. Like, I mean, sometimes a bit overwhelmed, but in such a good way. Cause it's like, that they have it in them and it's just that poverty. Like I said, like the mindset is really the big thing that shifts in them. And then they're like, I went and talked to these people and I was not afraid to just, put it out there. And if somebody says yes, great. If they say no, oh, well, they're just not for us. And so, it just kind of allowed them the freedom to not feel so bad about asking or, any of that stuff, which comes with the fundraising side of things. So no, I love it. I got an email just a couple weeks ago from one of my very first clients that I took on with our program called Fully Funded Academy. This is specifically a program for missionaries and ministry leaders who are trying to raise funds. And she sent me a message saying, Mary, I didn't even try. She's like, I just did what you said. And in the email was an email from one of her donors that said that they had just dropped $25,000 into her account. And
Wow.
so it was like, that is just beautiful because she wasn't even she didn't even make some hard ask, for $25,000. It was just like, we thought of you. We love your ministry. And they, dumped $25,000 into her account. So
wow,
it was beautiful. Yeah. There's
That's
nothing
awesome.
better.
Huh. Oh, wow. Let's say hello to a few people here that have joined. So I want to make sure we say hi. Good morning this morning from Gatlinburg, Tennessee. She's usually in West Virginia. So Linda Kozera is a good friend of the show. And then another friend. Oh, it looks like Mike Sander. You may know Mike.
Yes,
No?
I know Mike. Yes, Mike is doing great work helping ministry leaders travel all over the world. Yes.
That's awesome.
Catalytic. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. Good. If you would, please share this video out with as many people as you can think of. And then also, what else would I like for you to do? What I'd like for you to do is to do that, share the video out, but then also put in a picture of you winking in your timeline. And when you wink, you're going to start to understand what makes you unique. So that's part of your vision, is to know what makes you unique. So obviously Mary knows very well what makes her unique. But if you would then, as you wink, think of what makes you unique. Because if I know what makes me unique, and it's not my eye, what Mary has that makes her unique, you may not know that. So understand that it's important for us all to think intently about what makes us unique. Yeah. So that picture of you winking will get you thinking along those lines. And then put the picture in your timeline. Put in a hashtag of Brian with one eye and a hashtag of Winking with Wagner, and then tag me on it, and you'll be entered into a raffle to win a free copy of my book. So there you go. That's my commercial.
Love it.
Well, Mary, I mean, I'm just so impressed with all of what you've done. You really know your core strength, your core beliefs. I mean, I know you started with this job and right out of college, and you weren't sure it was for you. But how did you get to know your core strengths were so rooted in that fundraising and financial freedom?
Yeah.
I keep saying financial freedom. Yeah. I think that's the wrong name.
Well, fundraising, but that's okay. It's all financial in the end. Yeah. And I do work with entrepreneurs as well. People just like you and I who are, trying to figure out our businesses as well. So it all comes back to the money mindset and financial freedom when it comes to whether it's a charity or a business. But I got into all of this actually during college. So I went to school at Missouri State University in Southwest Missouri. And at the time it was, Southwest Missouri State. But I jumped in and I thought I was going to go into business. I thought I was going to get a degree in marketing. But when I transferred schools, when I moved from North Dakota to Missouri, I, immediately got this sense that I was supposed to get more into the nonprofit sector. And so I would shift my degree over into organizational communications and just helping people. And I love people. That was when people said, "What's your passion?" I just was like, people. And I don't know what job you get when your passion is people. That's just it's not like, oh, I want to, save puppies, or I want to, I don't know. It's like the veterinarian or the doctor or the business. It just was in my mind. I just wanted to be a part of helping and being around a lot of people. And so anyways, all that to be said is I interned in my campus ministry, and I got really plugged into my campus ministry, met my husband there. And then I just interned with them, and I said, hey, I'll be your fundraising intern. I'll do the golf tournaments and the car washes and like all those fundraisers. I'll lead them. I'll make sure that I'll spearhead those fundraisers and make sure that we raise the funds we need for missions and to run the organization. So I jumped in and I absolutely loved it. I raised my own personal support, just like I teach my missionaries today how to do it. So I wrote the letters, I sent out the requests, and I've been fundraising. Let me just make this really clear. I've been fundraising my entire life. I'm the youngest of 7. And so I've sold candy bars. I have raised money for soccer uniforms and cheerleading uniforms. And I was a part of an organization called DECA. So I went to, a business, this business organization. I had to pay for national, going to national competitions. I was on their, state team. So there was all these things. I was just raising money throughout this entire process. And to be honest with you, my dad, who passed away several years ago, he was just really like by my side through all that fundraising. And I loved doing I loved fundraising with him. And it just, to me, it just kind of spiraled, because it was like, my whole motto is that I just don't want anybody to do things alone. And so I'm like, if you are doing something alone, I'm like, you have to find a coach. You have to find somebody who's, a couple steps ahead of you, so that you're always moving in the direction you want to go. So for me, I just, had kind of latched on to the nonprofit sector very early in my college years. And then I got a job at Special Olympics, and then I went to the ALS Association, and then the American Cancer Society was creating a brand new position. And I was like, that to me was the granddaddy of nonprofits. Like everybody in my town, when I called to ask for money for Special Olympics or the ALS Association, they were like, well, our charity of choice is the American Cancer Society. And I was like, darn them. I was like, what are they doing? And so just like, I just wanted to continuously grow and learn. And I called, I went through the entire process. It took me months to get that job. I had to sell a duct tape fundraiser to the hiring, manager. And I just was like, I wanted that job so bad. And I had no idea that job was going to totally launch me into my career, so, but in the first year of that working with the American Cancer Society, I had launched a brand new fundraiser that net $500,000 during the Great Recession.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so it was one of those things, like everybody else was scrimping and saving, kind of like the pandemic season where it's like, oh, we got to shut things down, or we can't offer as many services. And we were like, we are gearing up. Like we are launching this brand new fundraiser, and it was, everybody was paying attention, because they're like, how the heck did you pull $500,000 out of our small town? I mean, this is not a super small town, but 140,000 people.
That's small.
Yeah. I mean, compared to like a major metro market, we were, we shouldn't have been able to pull $500,000, and so, yeah, then people started asking me questions, and that's how, I started training and teaching I started teaching my own peers. And then I was like, hey, I would love to do this, for a variety of nonprofits, like just all over the world, and hopefully do that with ministries as well. And that's kind of how that all happened. But yeah, it was just like one thing after the next. And it just kind of turned into the, where I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. I love doing this and helping people raise the money that they need.
So tell us about the duct tape campaign.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So you had to buy like this is a great fundraiser. So if anybody's listening and they're like, hey, I need a fundraising idea, it's not bad. But my idea was mostly targeted to a younger population. Okay. So I don't think that the seniors should be doing this particular fundraiser, but it was selling strips of duct tape. And then ultimately they got to duct tape a peer or a friend, a student to the wall. And so it was like this fundraiser that it was like, eventually the person is just like sandwiched against the wall.
Really?
So you raise all the money, and then everybody gets to put their duct tape and, basically like the principal or whatever. And they raise money for whatever charity that they're raising money for. So, and of course, in this case, it was the American Cancer Society.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I had a good time. Well, and it was just so funny because it was like this. I took it so seriously. I had my PowerPoint presentation. I had pictures. I had, everything because I wanted to make sure that I put my best foot forward. But anyway, I talk a little bit about, I don't think I talk so much about the duct tape fundraiser, but in my book, I talk about how I had to sell a bottle of water to Special Olympics and how I was not prepared for that interview. I was not prepared to sell a bottle of water to like this boardroom full of, and here I was 21 years old, like just felt so totally out of my element. But with Special Olympics, by the way, they hired me as their administrative assistant. And I was kind of like, I really want to be a fundraiser. Like, I don't really want to do secretarial admin work. But that was such a blessing, so if somebody's listening and they're younger, I'm like, you know what, if you want to get into an industry, you take that entry level job. I don't care how much education you have. I don't care how much you think you've, have experience. You take the entry level position and you move your way up, because they would never have hired me into that development position until unless, what happened. So I worked as their admin for 18 months, and then they had a hiring freeze. And when the development director, resigned, I was ready to take that job, and they just shifted me right into the position. So it worked out great for me that I got into the fundraising, world. But so many people who are fundraisers themselves are like, nobody goes to college and says, I want to be a fundraiser, or nobody, like when you're a little kid, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I want to be a fundraiser. It really is kind of an addictive kind of job for anybody who's done any charitable work. Right? Like, you see a life transformed, you see someone who's, just had an experience because of that organization, and it gets in you. It just and this, for me, seeing people raise money and fund that mission. Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Wow. That is very cool. So I've got to add, and thank you for the advice as well. That was very nice.
Yeah.
When you have a vision, how often do you think you should revisit it, or how do you reevaluate your vision?
Yeah, so I spend quite a bit of time reviewing my vision statement and my mission, and I'm really big on, of course, in my book, I teach how to help charities, identify their mission, their vision, their timeline, and their budget for their organization. So to me, I take the process, that I teach, and I live it, right? So it's important that I do it in my business and in the work that I do. So I look at that mission and vision frequently, and I'm always reevaluating, am I on the right track, right? So 2020, we all had to reevaluate what we were doing, because it was like, okay, things are changing. People are not, communicating the same. We got to use technology. We can't do things face to face near as much, so, but in the end, your vision should never, ever change, right? Like, my mission and how I executed my mission may have changed, and it did. But to be honest, I was doing everything online anyway. So so it was more like, hey, come on over to our side, we're already doing this technology thing, so, but I really was focused in on my vision, through all of this, so it just really was important for me that I saw the end goal in mind. And so, and yes, I go back, I reevaluate, I look at it often, I have, I have whiteboards if you saw my office, it's like, I got a whiteboard there, I got a whiteboard there, I got two up here, I got one on the whole wall over here. So I'm always writing and reevaluating and looking to make sure that I'm on track. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. And so you just froze for whatever reason, but sorry about that if I did something.
Oh, no. We're back.
Well, this has been phenomenal, Mary. And thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time. I can't believe the time has gone by already.
I was going to say, that's kind of a problem that you and I both have, that it's easy for time to pass when you're having a good time.
Yeah, exactly. And I appreciate the deep conversations. That's one of the things you taught me. Oh, you've taught me a lot over the years, but the deep conversations is one of those things that it means a lot to get into to really understand somebody and understand what's going on and to try to be able to help them. You can't do that in a superfluous, wrong word, but right, a conversation that's just, not deep. So, I mean, I'm not sure what to say, but thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's really a joy. And I know you and I have talked a little bit about joy, and, it's like just finding those things that really, light you up and do more of them.
So you're going to have some joy coming here. What's the date?
The date is October 25th. Yeah,
Nice.
that our little one will be coming, and we won't know what it is until the time comes. So
that's awesome.
It'll
Very
definitely
cool.
be better than Christmas.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate your time, and we will look forward to seeing you soon. If it's okay with you, if you can go back to the green room, that would be great. And you and I can chat a little bit later.
All right. See you guys.
All right. Thanks. Bye, Mary. Oh, Mary Valloni is phenomenal. So just a good friend and means so much to the show. And hopefully she's brought a lot of value to you today. If there's ever anything you have of questions you want to ask Mary or myself, please let me know. I'd love to be able to do that for you. We've got other great shows coming up for you towards the end of the week. So we have Greg Sini is going to be back on Friday. And then Friday morning, I'm not sure who we have. I don't have the list in front of me, but we have some great guests coming on. So look forward to seeing you then. And hopefully, if there's ever anything that I can do, just let me know. And as always, keep one eye on the road.